Hello, good hello, good morning, and welcome to this On Buster's Taste Challenge. We have two bourbon whiskeys. Neither of which is very old. And I don't mean aging wise, I mean, and that's true too, but I mean the brand hadn't been around that long. First, we have Kings County Distillery Peated bourbon whiskey, 45% alcohol by volume, 750 milliliter bottle. It looks like it's written on a typewriter on this piece of paper. Well, the glare is bad, you can't see it, but if you could see it, looks like it was written with a typewriter. I mean, it wasn't, but that's what they're trying to make it look like. And it's an old medicine. It looks like an old medicine bottle, old style medicine bottle. Similar to, but it's thicker, but similar to the MD 2020 wine bottles. MD 2020 wine, also from New York, Mogan David 2020. And if anybody knows why, can you tell me why? I'm not going to give you time because you'll go look it up. Because when it first came out in 1968, it was 20 ounces. The bottle was 20 ounces. Now it's 25.4 ounces, but it was 20-ounce bottle with 20% alcohol, 2020, 20-ounce bottle, 20% alcohol. Now it's more like 13%. Some states might still sell 17%. Like Wild Irish Rose, I found 13%. In this town, we have 13% and 17% in the same town. Now, explain that. Okay, but this is not a wine video. So that's Kings County Peated bourbon. They use peated barley malt from Scotland in the blend. But you know, bourbon has to be at least 51% corn. So that's what this is. Mostly corn whiskey, but there is peated malt blended in. The company founded in 2010. 10. How you say that? 10. Et tu Brute 10. People in the South have a tendency to pronounce that word like a 10, like tin roof. How old is he? 10. But they should be saying 10. Yep. I need to clean up this bottle. Stedman Select. The legendary Stedman Select. Oh yeah, it's been on the market since 2018. It's really legendary. Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey sour mash, 86 proof, aged 3 years, and it is from It is bottled in Kentucky by IWA Distilling Company Limited. There is no website listing. And on the back, there's a story about Ebenezer Hiram Stedman and his brother Sam. And they set up a distillery, and they're using their name. They're kind of like co-opting their name. All right, so IWA Distilling, Louisville, Kentucky. Part of the Sazerac Company. And I don't know if Kings County is. I think Kings County is still independently owned. Only aged 2 years, but it's $65 a bottle. Aged 3 years, $19.96 per bottle. That's right. I paid $19.96, and now I noticed that it was $19.49. Of course, with inflation, it may have gone back up, but still, this is a handle bottle now. Big old glass handle bottle, not plastic. I've seen it at Total Wine. I've seen it at Walmart. And I think I saw Stedman Select at Savannah Discount. But is it real popular? It's not even really known. Most people I talked to never heard of it. But it's around. Obviously, I got a bottle. Bought it right there, half a mile away at Walmart. Oh. I think it's a really good value price bourbon. I'll give you that. I drank it over Jack Daniels. And let's look at it like this. you know, a handled bottle of Jack Daniels isn't going to be 1996, 1949, or whatever, 19 something. It's going to be at least what, $38, something like that. So, but Jack Daniels is 4-year aged, so it does age a year longer. Although it's got no age statement. The man at the distillery said they don't put age statement on it because they have to pay tax. He said there's some kind of tax you have to pay if it's age stated. This has a nice fine grain finish. It feels like the fine sandpaper on the finish. It really does. And the bottle's going to chime. Listen to that nice glass that they're using in Louisville. It chimes. If you get Kentucky Tavern a liter of Kentucky Tavern, it really chimes. It sounds like a beautiful wind chime, glass wind chime. So he was saying they have to pay a tax. But if they don't put an age statement, they don't have to pay a tax. But it's age at least 4 years, so they don't have to put an age statement. Now, is that true? Sounds plausible. Is he supposed to be telling people that on the tour? I do not know. All right. Well, now the Jack Daniels is charcoal mellowed, meaning they drip it through charcoal. This one, I'm not sure. It might be chill filtered. But we know it's sour mash bourbon, aged 3 years, 86 proof. Yes. This one is much darker. Look at that. Deep, dark copper. It's probably using the thickest charred oak barrels. They call that the alligator char. Number 4 char, there's 4 levels, and the 4th is so thick it looks like the back of an alligator, called alligator char. That would suck up that color even in 2 years, of course. Well, it sucks up the color fast, and then it ages. The aging matters. See, so when you pour bourbon into a barrel, it's clear. And it's not bourbon yet. When you pour it in the barrel, it's just grain neutral spirits, or as they call it, corn liquor. But it's really not grain neutral because you've got corn. Well, it could be 100% corn, but usually you got barley whiskey, barley malt whiskey, like they would call it in Scotland, single malt whiskey. So you got corn whiskey, malt whiskey from barley. A lot of times they'll add wheat. If they add a lot of it, it'll be wheated, like Weller. I saw that arrive yesterday at a store. And they might also add rye whiskey. But their moonshine, they call it what you've heard people call it moonshine, clear liquid. Because when they're making illicit liquor, and they're on the run from federal revenue agents, they don't have time to age it in barrels, not like they're out in the woods with a rick house. That's why it's moonshine. They just distill it, skip the barrel aging process, and bottle it. And some people like that. But you got to age it in charred oak barrels, new charred oak barrels, for it to be bourbon. You don't have to age whiskey in new barrels. They can be used charred oak barrels. It would just be called whiskey, that's all. So now if you want to add flavoring and coloring like they did with the Virginia Black, go ahead, fine. But you got to call it whiskey. It's called American whiskey, even though it's a blend of 3 different bourbons, 2-year, 3-year, and 4-year aged bourbons. Or is it 1, 2, and 3-year-old? Whatever. A blend of 3 different aged bourbons, but they adding flavoring, so they call it whiskey. But anyway, now there is a confusing qualification there, and that was me seeing at the store. I can go buy a bottle to prove it to you. Wouldn't cost me much. 10 high. And it appears there's two different types of 10 high. There's 10 high blended bourbon whiskey, which is at least 51% straight bourbon, but blended with grain spirits. That is a class of bourbon. It's called blended bourbon. Okay. Kentucky Gentleman, another example. Comes from Buffalo Trace. 10 High was one of those brands they bought from Hiram Walker. It even has Hiram Walker on that bottle, the blended one, with his leg up on, with one of his, I think his left leg up on a barrel. But then I saw 10 High with the eagle on it, and it says bourbon with natural flavors. Bourbon with natural flavors. So now, if you read the Tax and Trade Bureau website, U.S. government, it says bourbon is not allowed to have flavoring added. So maybe the company Sazerac is saying, oh, no. It's not flavored bourbon. That's illegal. It's bourbon with natural flavors. The bourbon's unflavored. We just put it in a bottle with natural flavors. Now, that could be a technical way to get around it, but somebody's getting around it because it's on the shelf. Some of you whiskey experts might know the answer to that. But if you read the Tax and Trade Bureau website, it also says Canadian whiskey can have no coloring or flavoring added. And we all know that almost every Canadian whiskey's got natural flavors added and coloring, like caramel color. So how can they violate the law and import it? Oh, well, because if you also read it, the website, Tax and Trade Bureau website, it says imported under the laws of Canada. So even though it's illegal for it to have coloring and flavoring added under U.S. law, it's imported under Canadian law, not American law. It's not an American product. You say, oh, they got that law in the book, so when the U.S. invades Canada and takes it over, the law will apply. Oh, yeah, maybe that's why. Okay, this smells, like regular old bourbon, but it smells a little darker. You know, like it's from a dark roasted barrel. You know, a darkly alligator charred barrel. Huh. So it could be the Kings County, but I do not know. Is it getting daylight out there? Well, a little bit. It's 28 degrees. Got my water dripping, but I don't think I need to do that. But I'd rather be safe than sorry. I'm like Remo Gaji, you know. Just rather be safe than sorry. But I woke up this morning. I got out of bed at 1:47. No, 1:48 a.m. and it still wasn't down to freezing yet. So I thought that's good because it's not going to be sitting under freezing temperature for that long. This smells lighter. Is it sour? It smells like that sour mash whiskey, which is like, well, like a sourdough bread. And and sour mash is like a shortcut way to make bourbon, where they prime the pump, so-called, with yeast left over from the previous batch, kind of like that friendship bread, whatever they call it, where they carry the yeast over. And I think sourdough bread is like that too, where they carry the yeast from the last batch, put in. Well, I don't know. What do I know for baking? Okay, taste time. Tastes like 90 proof. It's strong. It burns. It burns. It's regular old tap water. Yeah. Not really getting any peat smoke, but then of course I haven't really gotten any peat smoke the whole time I've been doing this doggone taste challenge series with Kings County. I've got a little bit of it. A little bit. But not too much. Now, Orangey's sitting there behind me on the carpet. like 4 times last night when I got up to use the restroom, I looked out, no Orangey. She never cried to come in. Usually she'll stand outside the window crying with a cat cry, you know, like ring, ring, or whatever the little eek eek sound she makes, like eek eek. And then if I don't hear her, she gets really loud. But I said that's strange, getting down into the high 20s, maybe even the mid 20s, and she's not asking to come in. I said something must have happened to this cat. So then I got at 5:15 Central Time. So let me go put some food out. But I heard a bunch of racket, like going to the cat door. Well, she goes to the cat door very quietly. So I said, that must have been the gray cat was on the porch. I call him Gray. He heard me open the door and he was trying to take off as fast as possible, but he couldn't get through the cat door because she was just walking around nonchalant on the back porch, like, but it could have been her running in, excited that I was there. But I didn't feed her. She had food left. I said, well, I'll just shake it in the bowl so it piles up, easier to eat. But I said, I find it amazing that you stayed out all night in this freezing cold and just walking around like it was nothing. Like, oh, well, so what is freezing? Who cares? But those two might have been bundled up together underneath the house. They might have found a spot under the house where it wasn't windy. Because this house is 71 years old, okay? And they might have just been nuts. You know how those cats do it, get together in a ball. Sounds like something they would do. All right. I said this in a previous video for this whiskey. If I'm all into this peated malt and I gotta have peat, and I like that, you know, that's cool. I'd get Ardbeg 10. My friend David said, look, I've been taking care of this Ardbeg 10. I said, golly, half the bottle's gone. But like I told him, I said, what you doing with all this whiskey? I mean, you got so many bottles. What's the point of it? Why don't you drink it? He's kind of taking my advice, like, yeah, I don't need to just keep buying like some frenzy. Let me drink this stuff down. Now, he bought a bottle of the Clubhouse blended whiskey. I can understand not loving that. That's pretty cheap. It's only $5.99 a liter. But I would still finish it. You know, if I had to, I wouldn't sit on it. No way, Jack. But yeah, so if I wanted peat, I just get the Ardbeg 10. It's $46. So why would I pay $65 for this? If you want to say a gimmick bourbon, because it is, they're saying we think we are the. It said this. We think we are the first peated bourbon in history. They said we think. They're qualified because they're not sure, but that's a fair way to do it. But I mean, why? Why? I mean, you know, what's the attraction? And you can barely taste it. So why would I want to pay $65 to get a tease of peat if you could pick it up when I could pay $46? Now, no, I want to retract that. It was $44.99. I bought it for $44.99. Ardbeg 10. And then David said, well, get me a bottle if you get it for that price. I'll pay you back. I said, you got it. So really, it's $20 cheaper. Do you think I would really pay $20 more? I would not pay $1 more. I wouldn't even pay the same amount if I'm going to get one that's really peated. Ardbeg 10 is a peat monster. Oh, yeah, and it's not colored. You know, they don't add color, and you could tell it's so pale. Oh, so very pale. And oh, so very good. If you ask me, it'll whip these two products. It'll whip them up. You say, but that's a Scotch. These are bourbons. I know that. It's still whiskey, though. But anyway, I just think it's just tastes better. But these two here are not too remarkable. And wouldn't you feel if you say, well, so whiskey doesn't have to be remarkable, you can enjoy it. I agree with that. But if it's not going to be remarkable, would you rather pay $19.49 for a handle or $65 for a regular bottle? And they're not remarkable. In a taste challenge, on their own merits, they're nice. I gave Kings County Peated Bourbon an A in this solo. Sitting down, drinking it. Those are nice. Things break down many times when you do the taste challenge, because the other whiskey will bring out negative things that you didn't quite notice, or you didn't notice at all in the solo review. So I think it's very, well, at least in my mind, it's important to do the blind taste test. Most people probably don't have time for it, but you can get a real good understanding on, I would say. I don't know if you need to do it at dawn, at 5:30 a.m., but you might point that out. Well, that's a gimmick, isn't it? Well, I guess it is. But it's convenient, too, because then it's done. I'm getting it over with. It's like, now I'm done with that. I'm going to do other things today. So, but I'll get up early. I mean, most people don't wake up at 1:45 in the morning. That's a little eccentric, I'll admit that. So 5:30 is like well into the morning, well into the day. I'm like a reverse night owl. Some people stay up so late, they're like a night owl. Well, I am too. I guess I go to sleep so early. I wake up, 6 hours of nighttime left. Where do I go? Who do I turn to? You are not my... All right, been my boss. Tell you what, Stedman Select is Stedmanly competing in this. This is Destively Bonnaroo. You know what I'm saying? This contest here is Destively Bonnaroo, because Stedman Select is winning by price point, by flavor comparison, by every attribute. You say a lowly little product like that. Yep, a lowly little product like that. But it says on the label, the legendary. And it's legendary in this case. Yeah. All right, so I think this is the Stedman Select. It is. Whew, that was kind of scary. So, yeah, I was able to tell them apart. It took a lot of effort. Now let's look at the comments. So Stedman Select wins. Sorry, Kings County, you haven't won a contest yet. It did tie. It did tie Blanton's, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. It loses to Stedman's, but it ties Blanton's now. You got to wait. I'll let you out in a minute. No, we're going in a minute. I'm almost finished. So there it is. The loser again. Don't keep doing that. Well, good morning, Ron, says BC's Beer Reviews. BC's Beer Reviews. You are an early riser. I sure am. So regardless of it, if it's in a bottle or a can, BC's Beer Reviews is going to review it. But enough of this jibber jabber. Let's look at the other comments. David Cassidy says orangey. Yeah, and gray. Yeah, gray. Where's your friend? Wake him up. David? He's probably up. Easy, Miss Orange, laughing out loud. She's right there. Yeah. You're just staring at the door. Why would you want to go back out? I don't get that. It's like it's so cold, but you want to be outside. Now, if I go walking in this cold, like at 6:10, 6:15 a.m., and it's still dark and it's 28 degrees, this cat will go walking with me. European Sun said BC's Beer Reviews. BC's Beer Reviews. The cat will walk like a dog with me for a whole half a mile. Now, her idea of walking with me is meaning what? Following along and then sprinting, doing a sprint into the grass, up a tree, over the fence, stopping, smelling the grass, running over here, running there, falling behind, and running and catching up. You know, but still, she knows my route, so she'll kind of do like a little circuit in between, and then lay it on the street uh, for whatever reason, and getting back up. Okay. Whoops. Yeah, Stedman selected very well this morning. Is it a great product? It's not really a great product. It's just kind of ordinary. Like, is there anything special about this bourbon? Yeah, it's cheap. It's 19, like I said, less than $20 for a handle. But it's not anything that you're going to say, oh, well, you just got to try it. I mean, you need to go track it down. You need to go look for it. No one needs to go look for Stedman Select. But if you see it for that price, sure, I'd buy it. I did buy it. Yes, yes, yes. But, you know, so you take an ordinary product like this, that's really kind of ho-hum, but well made, but just, you know, ho-hum. It's just ordinary. And you put it up against this fancy pants, $65 New York City, Brooklyn, New York produced bourbon, and the New York $65 bottle can't win. It doesn't win. So you think about that for a minute. 17 degrees here. My cat won't go near the back door when it's this cold outside. I believe that. But you see, this cat grew up on the streets. The cat is 2 years old now. Because I remember in 2020 when the scamdemic started, I would see this little orange kitten, and I might have been the gray kitten, but I'm not sure, running across the street. When I would go out to the highway, they'd run across with the truck, scaring them. So then, then the cat got older and left the family and went on its own, and now it started showing up around here. Then the tail got cut off some kind of way. I don't know what happened, but didn't seem to bother her. And now she's gotten so tame. You know, remember, she went from scratching and hissing and running away and trying to block me, like literally trying to block where I was walking and scratching me and stuff, like a maniac. Now she's like a big baby, wants to lay on the bed, on the pillow above my head, lick my hair, lick my forehead. So a cat or a dog is naturally tame. You know, it's in their nature to be domestic. It doesn't take a whole lot of training, and they'll calm down and be a big baby. But like a wild animal, like a cougar or a lynx, it's not in their nature to be tame, and they'll always be wild. You can raise it from a baby, and it won't be tame. Now, a house cat, you can raise from a baby, of course, it'll be tame. If you could find it in the wild, it'll become tame. I guess if it's young enough, like this one. Okay, good morning. Does the cat have any interest in whiskey or beer? None whatsoever. The cat has interest in one thing: meat products and cat food, which is refuse meat, grain and meat that humans wouldn't eat, but these animals, she likes it. Smells like earthworms when you open that cat food bag. It's a repulsive smell. It smells like earthworms, but she eats it up. So does that interloper, Gray. I hear her purring. I sound like a motor running behind me. Brr, brr. All right, well, that's enough. So thanks for joining another Dawn Busters. I'm sorry for the poor. Oh, Terrio, how about Joe Burrow? Says Brendan O'Leary. Oh, yeah, that guy, what did he pass for 358 yards yesterday? Crazy, right? That guy's on fire. He was great at LSU his last year. And everybody thought, he won the Heisman Trophy, but that doesn't mean anything because a lot of times those Heisman Trophy winners flop in the NFL. But he went to the Bengals, a team, and their offensive line is bad. He gets sacked a lot. But can you imagine? My father told me on the phone, can you imagine what Dallas would be like if he was there? 378 yards. I knew it was some incredible number. What the Cowboys would be like if he was there? In my father's opinion, Dallas would be unstoppable if they had Joe Burrow instead of Dak Prescott, which my father finds is a horrible quarterback. My father says, that guy's terrible. He gets worse every week. These scrambling quarterbacks is always the same story with them. They start off on fire, and the defenses figure them out, and the guys can't do anything. Look back in the history of all these scramblers. They're running around like they're playing, Iowa State or Fresno State. Yeah, you can do that, but then you get in the NFL where the defenses can shut you down after they learn you, and they will do that. Randall Cunningham, same story. The only one that was ever really a good scrambler was Steve Young. He could scramble and pass pretty well. Fran Tarkenton scrambled everywhere. How many Super Bowls did he win? Fran Tarkenton with the Vikings. Went to 4. How many did they win? Second quarterback to win a playoff game, being sacked 8 or more times. Incredible. Yup, you're right. Got to throw to win in the NFL. These drop back quarterbacks, that's the ones that are successful. Look at Joe Montana. Man could not run. I could run faster than him probably, but he was tall and he could throw a decent, those little dink passes they would throw. Left, then to the right, then to the right, then to the right, then the left. Just down the field. Now, he didn't have a strong arm, but they was such a competent team. Good schemes, good line, good defense. And they won. All right, well, let me go let the cat out because she's crying, and Grady must be outside. I don't know why she want to go out in this cold, but whatever she wants, she got it. All right, thanks everybody for watching this video production. All right.